Hey, welcome to Knowables. Imagine a book so massive, so mysterious, and so cursed that it's been linked to the devil himself. It's the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, a manuscript so shrouded in fear, controversy, and legend that its very existence challenges the boundaries of human belief. But before we cut into the craziness of this story, hit that like button and subscribe. Because if you don't, you might just find Lucifer himself lurking under your bed tonight. Let's jump in. The Codex Gigas, an ancient manuscript also known as the Devil's Bible, is a horrifyingly gigantic book that weighs in at an astounding 165 pounds. It's over 3 feet long and bound in wood covered with leather. Contained within its pages are the entire Latin Bible, historical texts, medical knowledge, and something far darker, a full-page portrait of the devil. One of the most haunting depictions of Lucifer ever found in history. But that's not what makes it truly terrifying. Legend has it that the Codex Gigas was written in a single night by a monk who had made a deal with the devil to escape a horrifying fate. Now, before you roll your eyes, hang tight, because the story surrounding this book is filled with shocking twists, cursed events, and an atmosphere so chilling, even hardened skeptics get goosebumps. The origins of the Codex Gigas begin in the 13th century, in a Benedictine monastery in what is now the Czech Republic. According to legend, a monk committed a grave sin, so severe, in fact, that he was sentenced to be walled up alive. As his punishment loomed, the monk made a desperate plea. He promised to create a masterpiece, a book that would glorify the monastery and contain all of human knowledge in a single night. The task, of course, was impossible. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Realizing the impossibility of his task, the monk is said to have prayed not to God, but to the devil himself. In return for his soul, the devil would help him complete the book. By the next morning, the manuscript was finished and the monk's life was spared. However, the price he paid for this salvation would be etched into history forever. One of the most unsettling features of the Codex Gigas is the full-page portrait of Lucifer. This haunting depiction of the devil is not like the mildly creepy, cunning figure we're used to seeing. No, in this image, the devil is grotesque, twisted, and monstrous. He's depicted with clawed hands, blood-red horns, and an expression so menacing it's said that just looking into the eyes of this image can invoke an unsettling feeling of dread. Some say that the very act of staring at this portrait for too long will draw the attention of dark forces. But why include a portrait of the devil in a supposedly holy book? This single image has sparked endless controversy. Some scholars argue that it was meant as a reminder of sin and evil. Others, however, believe that it was a mark of the pact the monk made. Could this be the devil claiming his ownership over the book? Some have even suggested that the Codex Gigas is not just a book, but a gateway to hell itself. The Codex Gigas didn't remain locked away in the monastery. Over the centuries, the manuscript passed through multiple hands, and wherever it went, misfortune followed. In the 30 Years' War, it was stolen by Swedish forces in 1648, who then housed it in the Royal Library of Stockholm. But things only got darker from there. In 1697, the royal castle where the codex was kept caught fire. Desperate to save the precious manuscript, a guard threw it out the window. The book survived, but the castle was reduced to ashes. This event solidified the belief that the Codex Gigas is cursed. Wherever it went, disaster followed. Some even believe that the manuscript holds supernatural power, that by simply touching it, you risk drawing the devil's gaze upon you. It's said that the book has a strange energy surrounding it, with some visitors to its current location in the National Library of Sweden claiming they feel ill or lightheaded after standing too close to it. But that's not even the most bizarre part. There's something truly unexplainable about the Codex Gigas: its ink. Here's where things get scientifically eerie. Despite the book's massive size and hundreds of pages, the Codex Gigas appears to have been written in one single hand, with no signs of exhaustion or changes in writing style. Experts say it should have taken decades to complete. But there's no sign of aging in the script, no faltering, no hesitation. And then there's the ink. Scientists have examined the ink used to create the Codex Gigas, and while it appears to be of medieval origin, there's something strange about it. Some say the ink was mixed with human blood. Though this has never been confirmed, the very idea has sent chills down the spines of those studying it. Could this be part of the monk's pact with the devil? Was human blood used as the medium to write this cursed text? To this day, no one knows for sure. Now let's talk about what's inside the Codex Gigas. Aside from the full Bible in Latin, the manuscript contains texts on medicine, exorcisms, and even necromancy, the ancient practice of communicating with the dead. That's right, the Devil's Bible isn't just a holy book, it contains forbidden knowledge. And it gets even more curious. The Codex also includes magical formulas that were used to protect against evil spirits, suggesting that whoever owned this book believed it had the power to summon or repel dark forces. There's even a section on penitential practices, methods to atone for your sins or to avoid eternal damnation. The chilling question is, did the monk include these to save himself from the devil, or were they instructions for future owners of the book to protect them from the malevolent energy that radiates from its pages? There's no shortage of controversy surrounding the creation of the Codex Gigas. Scholars and historians have long debated whether it's possible for a single person to have created this manuscript. Some say it would have taken 20 to 30 years to complete. But here's the twist. There are no corrections in the Codex. None. Whoever wrote this did it in one sitting, flawlessly, without mistakes. Was this the work of a human? Or did something else guide the hand that created it? This has led many to speculate that supernatural forces, perhaps even the devil himself, had a hand in its creation. While no concrete evidence of a deal with the devil exists, the timing, the flawless execution, and the haunting presence of the devil's portrait have left many to wonder if the monk truly sold his soul to complete the Codex. Was he the scribe, or merely the vessel through which the devil created his masterpiece? In modern times, the Codex Gigas continues to be a subject of fear and fascination. Those who have studied it up close report strange occurrences. Researchers working late hours with the manuscript have claimed to hear whispering voices, though no one else was present. Others have reported sudden temperature drops, as if the room became unnaturally cold when they approached the book. One paranormal investigator described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread as they neared the page with the devil's portrait. "It felt like the room was closing in on me," they said. "I couldn't breathe. The air was thick with something I can't explain." There's even a rumor that several people who have tried to take photos of the devil's portrait found their cameras malfunctioning, or worse. After viewing the photos, they experienced nightmares for weeks, dreaming of the devil coming to collect their souls. Is this all coincidence? Or does the Codex Gigas possess a supernatural aura that continues to influence those who encounter it? To this day, the Codex Gigas remains one of the most controversial manuscripts in history. Some scholars believe that it's simply an oversized medieval Bible, but others argue that it's much more than that. The presence of the devil's portrait, the inclusion of magical texts, and the mysterious ink all point to something far darker. Was this book created by a man desperate to save his soul? Or was it the work of the devil himself? Even now, as the Codex Gigas rests in the National Library of Sweden, it continues to intrigue and terrify those who seek to understand its origins. Scholars, paranormal investigators, and thrill seekers alike visit the library to lay eyes on the Devil's Bible, but they often leave with more questions than answers. So, is the Codex Gigas a sacred text corrupted by the presence of the devil? Or is it a cursed relic, born from a pact with Lucifer himself? The mystery surrounding the book has persisted for centuries, and even now, with all our modern technology, we are no closer to understanding how or why it was made. Would you dare to get close to it? Would you risk touching its cursed pages, knowing the fate of those who've encountered its dark power before? There's something chilling about a book that seems to transcend time and space, leaving a trail of fear, controversy, and misfortune in its wake. Is the Codex Gigas merely a medieval masterpiece, or is it a dark testament to a deal made with the devil? Does it hold forbidden knowledge that we were never meant to see? The truth may remain shrouded in mystery, but one thing is certain. This book has captured the world's imagination like no other. Its very existence forces us to confront the idea that evil can be hidden in plain sight. And maybe, just maybe, this Devil's Bible is a key to something far more sinister. Would you ever want to see the Codex Gigas in person? If you're brave enough, drop a comment below and let us know. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and as usual, stay curious, stay safe, and maybe say a prayer tonight.